Think of your heart as a control center of your life. It's where your deepest beliefs are stored. It's where every decision, every belief, every reaction, every experience is coming from the deepest part of you, that belief. Your heart connects your spirit to your worldly reality. It is everything. And what we do with our imagination, how we use our imagination, is painting the pictures of our future on our hearts. Thanks for joining us today. I'm so excited to share the word with you. I'm Pastor Michala, and I am just gonna dive right in. I wanna tell you a story about my niece, Sloan. When she was about 3 years old, I was babysitting her, and we were playing this game called Pirates. And we took the whole living room and we reimagined it. The couch was our ship, the floor was the crazy wild ocean and waves, and it was probably the funnest hour we had together. On the boat, we'd be sitting there and we'd be like, oh, there's huge waves, and I'd throw her back and forth on the couch as if waves were shaking the boat, and she's just laughing. You know, one of us would fall off the couch into the water, off our boat, and we'd scream, help me, save me, I'm in the water. And the other person would grab their hand and pull them up. And, as the game progressed, we kept adding things to this game because it was pure imagination. All of a sudden we had shark attacks and octopus attacks, pirates trying to steal our ship sinking in the water, and us having to jump onto an island, which was the coffee table. And let me tell you, this game went on for so long. And Sloan was in absolute heaven. She was screaming. She was joyful with excitement. She, at times, was scared about the shark. And then it's like, oh, it's a friendly shark, and because it's imagination. So we were able to make it whatever we wanted to. But the cool thing that I was thinking about within this story is that imagination influenced everything that we saw, that we felt, and that we experienced that day. We weren't just in a living room on a gray couch with a rug and a table. We were in the middle of the ocean, fighting sharks, finding treasure, trying to stay on the ship during the storm. And imagination influenced everything that we experienced that day. As we grow older, as adults, we hear the word imagination. And it's so easy to just think of a story like that and be like, oh, imagination, childhood fantasies. So cute to see our kids or other kids, play with their imagination and make believe and fantasy worlds. But, as you grow up, as you mature, it's time to put childish things away and put it away from you. And, in this message, I want and I hope to encourage you to see that God designed imagination for a purpose, and it is a tool that can totally change your life. Imagination is the process or power of forming a mental image of something not real or present. We use our imagination every day. We use it to remember things. If I asked you, what does your childhood home look like? You begin to picture it, and then you describe it to me. You can tell me the color, the amount of windows, the layout. If it had a huge tree in the front, you can tell me all about it because you're remembering it with your imagination. We use it to plan things, almost like a practice run. If we've got a school presentation or a work presentation coming up, we imagine how it's gonna go, how we're gonna say things, what we're gonna wear, people's reactions to our presentation. It helps us to fantasize. We imagine what we wish would have happened, or things that are just totally not in our life. Maybe someone in the grocery store said something to you, and 2 hours later, you think of the best comeback to what that person said to you, and you are just imagining yourself telling that person in a kind, loving way off. And, we use it to fantasize. Maybe we picture our life completely different than what it is. Instead of, living in Winnipeg or Calgary in the winter, we imagine ourselves in Hawaii on the beach just to get a little bit of warmth during that winter time. Your imagination can be influenced. I can say apple, and everyone right now is picturing an apple. But we're not all picturing the same apple. Some might be seeing a red apple, a green apple, crab apple, Honeycrisp, those creative ones. Maybe you're seeing a caramel apple, but I can change that to a specific picture that I want you to see. I can say, hey, there is a red apple half eaten on the counter, and it's turning brown, it's getting moldy, there's worms, and instantly your imagination changes the picture to what I want you to see. The truth about imagination is we can, think of it as childhood fantasy. It helps us to remember things, it helps us to plan, fantasize, but it runs much deeper than just the mental. It's not just a mental picture in your mind. It's not just apples, dogs, childhood homes. The truth is that we filter everything through our imagination, who we are. If you think that you're smart, if you think you're ugly, if you think that you can do anything, you picture it. What we are capable of. It's filtering through your imagination, your circumstances. Maybe you're sick and you go on Google and you see the list of your symptoms and it's saying, hey, this is what you have. And now you are just imagining yourself in the doctor's office and this is cancer or whatever. You're picturing the worst case scenario. We filter our experiences through our imagination. And as we begin to see ourselves in our life, our imagination has the power to influence our emotions and how we experience things. I don't know about you, but I'm someone who enjoys going to the doctor's office for blood work, and I love to watch them put the needle in, see the blood come out, fill up all the tubes. I don't know, maybe it's because there's so many medical people in my family, but the last time I was there was a man directly across the hall from me, and our doors were open so I could see him, and he's facing me, but his eyes are just tightly shut. He's turning red, he's sweating. He's older than me. He looks like an NFL player. He doesn't look like he would be scared of a needle. And his body is reacting to the needle before the needle has even touched him. Why? Because his imagination is telling him what's about to happen is not going to be a good experience. And his body is already experiencing it before the needle has even gone in. Imagination is so powerful, your body reacts to it. Two people can be doing the exact same thing, but their experiences are totally different. It's powerful. I want to read to you in Matthew 6, verse 22. It says, "The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, your whole body will be full of darkness." Eyes give us vision to see what's ahead of us, to see into the future. Here in Calgary, we've got a ton of nice hiking trails. And if I'm on a hike, my vision, my eyes are seeing what's ahead of me. It's showing me what's to come in the next couple of steps. I'm planning ahead as I see the mountain incline. I'm like, okay, start breathing now because you're going to be losing breath. Our eyes are there to help to see. It gives us vision. Imagination produces the vision for your life. It creates a picture for your future, an expectation of what you're hoping for, of what you're expecting, of what you think life is going to look like. So I want you to know today that imagination is the eye of your heart. Think of your heart as the control center of your life. It's where your deepest beliefs are stored. It's where every decision, every belief, every reaction, every experience is coming from the deepest part of you, that belief. Your heart connects your spirit to your worldly reality. It is everything. And what we do with our imagination, how we use our imagination, is painting the pictures of our future on our hearts. It's creating beliefs. It's creating emotions and beliefs within you, whether good or bad. What if I told you right now, the life you are living right now is the one that you have been imagining? As good or bad as it is, it's how you've imagined it, and that's where you are right now. But the good news is your imagination can only work with the information that you feed it. So many of us don't we don't use our imagination with purpose. We don't guide it. We don't shut things down that are not meant to be imagined. Don't let your imagination run wild, because then your future runs wild. And you do not want a wild, unpredictable, I'm not sure where I'm going future. You want a future that is clear, that has vision, that has purpose from God. You want to see His will be done in your life. You want to see and experience His plans. How do we do that? We change our imagination. What do you listen to? What do you focus on? What do you speak? What do you read? What are you filling your senses with? All of these things feed our imagination. It's one thing, in faith, when we're activating our faith and we're believing for something, we know to read God's word. What does God's word say about fear? Well, it says, I do not have a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound, peaceful mind. So when you're believing for peace over fear, if you're speaking those verses, if you're listening to messages on peace, but you're imagining fearful scenarios in your mind, you're imagining coming home late at night and someone hiding in your bushes, or you're imagining going to work for that presentation and everyone laughing at you as you stutter through the presentation that you've worked so hard on. It doesn't matter how much you've spoken it. It doesn't matter how much you've heard the truth. If you cannot begin to see it with the eyes of the heart and to change that belief, it is like a roadblock in your faith. There is nothing more frustrating than when you're driving somewhere that you need to go to and there's a construction zone that is a roadblock and you have to take a detour. You cannot get to your destination the best, quickest, easiest way. Now you got to go a different way. Roadblocks are so annoying, and your imagination may just be a roadblock in your faith from you experiencing God's goodness, His promises, His plans for your life, for your future. What are you seeing? If you're not seeing and imagining the answer in your heart, you are not going to experience God's living and alive word work within you.